The manager of a Starbucks store decides to experiment with a new blend of coffee. She will mix some grade B coffee, grade B Colombian coffee that sells for $5 a pound, with some grade A coffee that sells for $10 a pound to get 100 pounds of the new blend. The selling price of the new blend is going to be $7 a pound, and there is going to be no difference in revenue from selling the new blend versus selling the other types. How many pounds of grade B versus grade A should there be? So first off, I looked, and Starbucks did not sponsor this book, from what I can tell. So I don't know what they did to get their name in here. I'm not a big fan of that. But it is what it is. So what are we going to do? Well, basically what they're saying is that the price should be the same for the blend as it is for the original. So let's see what we can do for that. So let's try to write some equations. So how much of each are we using? Well, we're not really sure. Let's go with use the variables B and A for the grade B coffee and the grade A coffee. So what could we do then? Well, so what, $5 per pound, $10 per pound. We need to get 100 pounds. So we know if we take the B coffee plus all of our A coffee and add them together, we should get 100 pounds. And then, what about the price? You see, we always have like our total amount equation, and then we'll have like a price equation. Well, I would just almost try to write it based on 100 pounds. So I'd say like we're going to have $5 per pound for all of our grade B coffee, and then add on $10 per pound of the grade A coffee. And then I'd say if we have a total of 100 pounds, how much is it going to cost if it's going to be $7 a pound? Well, it should be $700. And then from there, now that we have the equation set up, can't we solve for A and B? Just solve the system? So how do we do that? Well, the best way to do that is going to be, I'd say, to divide the top by -5. Because then what happens to the top equation? It becomes -5b minus 5a minus 500. And then now see, when you add those equations together, you end up with 5a equals 200. And so now when you divide both sides by 5, you get that a equals 40. So we're going to use 40 pounds of the grade A coffee, which means we have to use 60 pounds of the grade B coffee. And real quick, I'd say think for a second, make sure that makes sense. Like, the one was $5 a pound, the other was $10 a pound, and they're meeting roughly in the middle at $7 a pound. So you expect them to be pretty close, but the middle exactly would be 7.5, and this is a little lower than that. So that should tell you that we expect there to be a little more of the grade B coffee than the grade A, and you see that that's exactly what we found. So it's perfect. So the gist of these problems is, I think the best way to do it is to write equations, because once you have the equations written out, you should always be able to solve them. So I think that's the best thing to do, is just write the equation, and then from there just solve it using the math that you should know.